Kick-ass facts, check under your bed and lock your doors up tight. Pew, pew, pew! A 57-year-old Japanese man was mystified when food kept disappearing from his kitchen. He rigged a surveillance camera that sent pictures to his mobile phone of an intruder in his apartment. When police arrived and searched the residence, they found 58-year-old Tatsuka Horikawa hiding in the upper compartment of a storage closet. She moved a futon into the space and even took showers while the owner was out. The woman said she had nowhere else to live and first sneaked into the residence a year before because the owner had left the door unlocked. She was charged with trespassing. When a South Carolina woman heard noises coming from her attic and nails began dropping from the ceiling, she had a feeling that something wasn't right. 2 of her sons investigated and didn't find anything. She kept hearing noises, so the next day her nephew investigated. The nephew found nothing at first until he went deeper into the attic, where he found her ex sleeping. The ex hurriedly left the house smiling. He'd been released from prison 2 weeks earlier and had lived in the attic ever since. Not only was she unaware that he had been released, they broke up 12 years earlier. There were fast food restaurant cups full of pee-pee and poo-poo in the attic, and he had also rigged the ceiling vents so that he could peek into his ex-girlfriend's bedroom. In 2017, a woman found a man living in the attic of her, honestly, fuck attics, of her rented apartment in Arlington, Virginia. The woman was home alone that night when she heard some footsteps in the attic. She checked with the landlord. Not him. The landlord called the police, who then searched the attic, and when they ordered anyone inside to come out, a 60-year-old man came out and surrendered himself to the police. Inside the attic, they found clothes and bedding. They couldn't figure out how long he'd been there, but they suspected he got in through an unlocked door. In 2008, on the day after Christmas, a Pennsylvania woman discovered a man living in her attic, periodically helping himself to her family's food, clothes, and possessions. She says, "When he came down from the attic, he was wearing my daughter's pants and my sweatshirt and sneakers. The man helped himself to a computer and iPod. He kept a list of everything he took, calling it his Christmas list." In 2013, a 73-year-old grandmother noticed that part of her home was colder than other parts. She suspected the heating was not working properly, so she bought another furnace. Problem still wasn't resolved, so she called a repairman to come check it out. He discovered the problem was not the furnace, but that someone was living under her house. The person had cut her ducts to redirect the heat there. While she never saw the person, she noticed some unusual events in her home. She once found her gate open and often smelled something that was worse than cigarettes. The repairman did not find any drugs, but he did discover a beer can under the house. When Maddie, a junior at the University of North Carolina, realized that some of her clothing had mysteriously vanished, her and her roommate blamed it on a ghost. She found handprints left on the bathroom wall, and in 2019, she discovered a man living in her closet and wearing her clothes. She says, "I just hear rattling in my closet. It sounded like a raccoon in my closet. I'm like, who's there? And someone answers me. He's like, oh, my name is Drew. I open the door and he's there, wearing my clothes, my socks, my shoes, and he has a book bag full of my clothes." Police identified the man as 30-year-old Andrew Swafford. Maddie talked to Swafford as she waited for her boyfriend and authorities to arrive. He continued to try on her clothes and commented on how she was really pretty. Swafford was arrested and put under $26,000 bond. He faced 14 felony charges, including larceny and identity theft. On the night she moved into her new apartment, Amber Dawn heard footsteps coming from where? The attic. She checked the trapdoor that led to the attic. While it looked suspicious, as if it had been pulled in from the inside, she never thought somebody could actually be living in there. Oh, Amber. She would notice strange events in her home over the next few months. Things mysteriously went missing and her items were being moved. At one point, her 9-week-old puppy ended up inside her bathroom sink during a flood, even though it couldn't have gotten there by itself. One night, 6 months later, she was soaking in the bathtub when she looked up at the trapdoor that led to the attic, and it was open. She grabbed a hammer and her dog and left the house. Outside, she called her sister-in-law, who came and picked her up. Police later searched Dawn's apartment and found no one. However, they found food, a book, and a sleeping bag inside the attic. This last one's a palate cleanser. We're getting out of the attic and into a Toys R Us. It's a wild ride. It began in 2005. Jeffrey Manchester, aka Roofman, was serving a 45-year sentence for robbery when he became the first inmate to ever escape the Brown Creek Correctional Institution in Polkton, North Carolina. He landed in Charlotte, North Carolina under a new identity, John, an unassuming church-going man who told his congregation he had a secret government job to avoid talking about his work. Manchester struck up a romantic relationship with a local woman, giving gifts to her and her children. They even spent holidays together. He was secretly living inside a Toys R Us. He built a cubbyhole in the bicycle department. He ate baby food and rode bikes around the store to keep himself fit. He also apparently changed employee schedules just for shits and giggles. When the Christmas season started to heat up, Manchester dug his way through the Toys R Us wall into an abandoned Circuit City, where he built a cubicle from old drywall slabs. He hung up posters, decorated the room with action figures while watching stolen DVDs on a stolen DVD player. Manchester began plotting his next big score, robbing the Toys R Us. First, he robbed a pawn shop to get a gun, then stole a baby monitor cam so he could case the joint. Case the joint? You've been living there for 6 months. During the robbery, 2 employees escaped undetected and called the police. This led to a chase, during which Roofman attempted to evade police by ducking back into his cubby. The police officers saw him. The jig was up. He managed to escape the cops and torched a dentist office in the middle of the night because he'd had dental work there a week prior and wanted to destroy the evidence. The cops convinced his girlfriend to set him up by inviting him over. He went, wanting to see her one last time before disappearing, and was promptly arrested. He had no hard feelings. He completely understood her position and encouraged her to pursue her dreams while the police whisked him back to jail.